ccsradio.com. And our visit this morning with Ed Dalton is presented by Marcus & Mack, voted best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 3 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit him online at marcusandmack.com. He started his coaching career 1,000 years ago at the Purchase Line School District, and now he is coming back to the Heritage Conference as the new head coach of the River Valley Panthers, just hired last night. Coach, good to talk with you again.
Well, thanks. Great hearing from you. Obviously, the importance of football in Indiana County has not changed, so that's very exciting hitting the ground running here.
All right, everybody has an Ed Dalton story. Everybody you talk to has an Ed Dalton story. Mine is this: Johnstown Point Stadium, Laurel Valley Purchase Line playing, and on the first play, Laurel Valley gets a long gain. Ed Dalton calls timeout. Second play, Laurel Valley gets another long game. Ed Dalton calls another timeout. He's burning them up because his team is getting pushed around a little bit too much on the first two plays of the game. But you actually turned that game around. That's maybe not the most conventional coaching style, but it worked for you, didn't it?
I think you might still see that happen once in a while, especially in the first half, because they don't carry over. But, I think sometimes, especially in a big game against a legendary coach like Jerry Page, you can't let them get up 7 or 14 or the game is over. Here's the great coaching I did in that game. I said upstairs, they were saying, run this, run that, do this. I said, Brandon, meaning Brandon Overdorf, just needs to make a play. We got the ball. He took it 65 yards, and the rest was history. So sometimes great players do a lot for you, obviously.
Yeah, he made a few of those in his career at Purchase
Oh,
Line.
my gosh, yeah. A human highlight reel.
Well, Brandon was just tremendous, one of the greatest football players ever in Indiana County history. But you're coming back to Indiana County, and this county has turned out a ton of really, really good football players, full of great athletes, including you're taking over River Valley. Blairsville and Salzburg both had tremendous football players.
Yeah, and I think I know the history, maybe not detail by detail, but I definitely know that Blairsville traditionally every year was, one of the teams to win the Heritage Conference. And Salzburg always had unbelievable athletes. And then when they got the numbers, like when they got to 25 or 30, those teams were really, really good. So you put the two of them together in the wealth of athletes. And after, I graded every game, every play, every player. And there's definitely a wealth of talent, a lot of talent graduated, but there's a lot of talent coming back, and the facilities I would argue, are going to be second to none in the state of Pennsylvania, definitely in the region. So I think our opportunities are great, but we have a lot of work to do. So I'm going to embrace the Ernie Widmars and the Abditories and the Glenn Richards and the Jim Meehan's and all the guys, Mike Lasers, all the guys that Tom Trenzos that made those places what they were, and we're going to also try to put our own little niche to it.
All those fellas, of course, were staples of the Luther Ford Coaches Corner program on WDAD for all those years. Yeah, is it true, the rumor that I hear, that the only reason you're really coming back is so you can get back on that program?
Absolutely. I mean, that was part of the package. There's no NIL money for coaches in Indiana County, but there is Coaches Corner, which definitely is the equivalent to it. I honestly enjoyed, after a bad night or a good night, just listening to every other coach who was in a similar seat. So I really look forward to it and hearing about all the great athletes. And I thought back when I was there the last time, Chuck ran it, but what I've heard is you basically follow a lot of the same principles, and you make it a good thing for high school athletes and coaches. And I can't wait to be a part of it again. Yeah,
well, you won't say that when I'm calling you at 4 o'clock in the morning or 5.
It doesn't matter. That doesn't really. So as in the old days, and probably still to today, usually Friday night there's not much sleep. I'd rather break down film and be done with everything by Saturday morning. So Huddle does a lot of that for you, but as an old school guy, I also do a lot of it on my own too.
Well, let's talk a little bit about after you left Purchase Line. You went to some really storied programs. In each of those cases, those programs had been struggling for a while. Mount Pleasant, Altoona, Trinity. I remember doing a game down there at Trinity, talking to you before that. Indiana was playing Trinity that night. And the last 12 years at McGuffey, the WPIAL, well, that'll toughen up any guy, won't it?
Yeah, I mean, you learn that there's great football played everywhere. My story probably has always been, other than one school, I've taken over teams that were really struggling. And I kind of now know that that's my niche. But I think when I've had great, I think there's an opportunity to make it elite. And I think I'm walking into great. So I think there's an opportunity to make this an elite program in a short period of time. Now, that said, there is a lot of work to do. But, I mean, night in and night out, it's not like the old days where you had to go to some clinic to learn something all the time. I feel like when I first started, because I was willing to get in the car and go watch IUP practice and go here and go there and go to clinics and those things, I always gained an edge. Now it's a laptop sitting at your desk. So I find that coaching is better all over the place, and watching some video, it definitely in the Heritage Conference is really good. So that said, long story short, my last rodeo, I think I want an opportunity to be elite, and I think I probably could have had 5 jobs in the last 12 months, 5 different places, but none of them hit like this place. And then the vertical alignment of this school is pretty remarkable, from the athletic department to the principal to the superintendent, so to the school board. So I think all those things in place check a lot of boxes for a coach who's done this for a long time. But you'll see that I'm still about the same, a little more polished, but about the same person that left a long time ago.
Oh, I like the rough edges. Don't polish it up too much. Hey,
yeah.
Coach.
Well, I mean, I think I've polished it. I don't think. I think your language is important now. I think all those kind of things are really important things because you're a teacher out on that field. Mm-hmm. But my intensity has not changed. I can promise you that.
Hey, Coach, let me interrupt our conversation for just a moment. This is a name that you'll remember, of course, and know very well. But Jody Rainey has just informed us, Cherry Hill Township, he's the fire chief for Cherry Hill Township. He tells us Pen Run Bingo is canceled for this evening. And since this is our last chance to tell folks, I wanted to slip that in. They'll resume on Saturday. But you're coming back to a conference. We speak about Jody. He's an old purchase line guy, now the principal at Homer Center High School. The legendary coaches, you mentioned Jerry Page and all of those coaches for Blairsville and for Salzburg. It's programs here in Indiana County. That's the main thing is, these long-standing programs, they have a tradition. And when you're going against them, there's Greg Page at Homer Center. He's been there forever. Right. You're coming into a conference to play some really tough football.
Yeah, and night in and week in and week out. And like I've seen a video of teams that at the time might have been 2-6 or whatever, but were last year against River Valley against us, and they were giving it. They were still playing like their hair was on fire. And then obviously the school down the road is going to become quite a rivalry, and that's exciting. And a Page Dalton matchup again. I think that's pretty exciting. Like I respected his dad as much or more than any coach I've ever met. And I'm saying that with all sincerity. He was a great guy. On the field, he would fight you tooth and nail. But off the field, you could sit and talk football until somebody kicked you out of the restaurant or wherever you were. So I look forward to some of those engagements again, maybe with Greg and obviously playing the school down the road is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, it really is. And United is hooked up now with Blacklick Valley, so they're United Valley in their football program. Great programs here in the Heritage Conference. I wanted to ask you a serious question about football as a rule. And it's not just Western Pennsylvania. It's not just Pennsylvania. All states and all regions, it seems, are suffering from lower participation of players. There are more options. for players in terms of sports, and it's sometimes difficult to get kids to dedicate themselves to it. At River Valley, they've not had numbers problems, which is a blessing, I know. But you really do have to have kids that are going to buy into the program, don't you?
You do, and you have to train year-round within the rules, but also encourage, demand multiple sport athletes, because I think the day of specialization that we have now, I still think you can get way more done in a basketball practice than a guru working with your routes. The amount of times you touch a ball, catch a ball, change direction, the way you bend in wrestling and tackle. Every sport, a 2-2 count, single to score a winning run, you're much more likely to catch a fade with the score tied there. There's so much transfer in sports. So you got to make it a place that they want to be, and you've got to make your schedule wide open. So we're going to accommodate our players within what schedules they have. And my demand back is, if you tell me that you need a training session from 5 to 7 p.m. on Sunday, and I'm there, you better be there. That's our rule. We're going to do what we need to do to get done what will make us or take us to the next level, which is what, I think in the military, when in doubt, do what's required. And then it's up to you to be a person of your word and, follow through and live up to the commitment that we're going to make to each other.
Well, there are a few Ed Dalton basketball stories for everybody as well.
I didn't last too long in some games, especially versus that school right down the road. I think I was out of that game in like 35 seconds. I think George Sokowski called a county commissioner meeting and deemed it the fastest ejection in world history. So that's pretty funny.
I remember an ejection in a playoff game at Central Cambria that it was hilarious.
Wow.
But probably not from your standpoint.
I think I'm better than that now. What I can tell you that you'll be shocked by. You ready?
Well, okay.
I pay very little attention to the officials in the games because I always tell my coaches, we have so many things that we're not doing well. We cannot afford time to worry about how the officials are officiating. We just have to overcome it if we don't think it's going our way. So I think you'll be surprised by that. I think you'll be really surprised.
It's going to be something to watch and to catch up with you every Saturday in the fall. Of course, Friday nights we'll be there for River Valley football. Coach Ed Dalton, thanks so much for spending some time with us today.
Well, thanks for having me, and I look forward to seeing everybody again. I'm going to tell you one final story. So somewhere around 8:30 or so, the news must have broke, and I had 68 text messages. I am not exaggerating. I sent pictures to people in literally 45 seconds.
How about that? Yeah,
I've never seen anything like that. So it's pretty cool.
A little bit of interest in River Valley football, huh?
Absolutely.
Hey, Coach, thanks so much. We'll catch up with you again soon.
God bless. See you.
Ed Dalton, the new coach of the River Valley Panthers. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com.